Golden sunset light bathes Santa Monica Beach, where thousands of tourists enjoy their final moments of peaceful tranquility today. Suddenly, the ground shakes violently beneath them, tearing through the silence and turning laughter into screams of pure terror. From the horizon, a massive 30-meter black wall of water rises vertically, completely blocking out the fading sunlight. The ferocious wave crashes directly into Santa Monica Pier, crushing the ancient oak pillars like brittle wooden matchsticks. The giant Ferris wheel is smashed by a terrible horizontal force, its steel frame twisting before collapsing into the sea. Panicked crowds flee across the sand, but the speed of the deluge is faster than any racing car today. On the Pacific Coast Highway, thousands of cars are gridlocked bumper to bumper with absolutely no escape route for survival. White water breaches the seawall, sweeping away luxury cars that float helplessly like plastic toys in a bathtub. Luxury hotels along Ocean Avenue have their ground floors smashed open by waves, shattering glass like a heavy rainstorm. From above, the beautiful Los Angeles coastline is now completely erased by the murky brown color of total destruction. This is no movie. This is a geological nightmare where the San Andreas Fault officially awakens and screams aloud. Millions of tons of seabed rock collapse instantly, creating an energy burst that pushes the water column sky high. Air raid sirens sound too late, blending with the insane roar of the ocean that is swallowing everything whole. The iconic blue lifeguard towers are ripped from the sand, spinning in the floodwater full of sharp, jagged debris. The desperate eyes of people trapped on car roofs watch as rising water levels quickly swallow every bit of hope. The citywide power grid begins to explode in a chain reaction, creating bright sparks amidst the pitch-black water. Every road leading out of the city is severed, turning Santa Monica into an isolated island in a deadly ocean. Nature's power does not stop there, as a second wave, higher and more brutal, continues to crash in now. Skyscrapers shake violently under the water's pressure, ready to collapse into the streets that have turned into raging rivers. Welcome to the worst-case scenario of modern history, the day Santa Monica sinks deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. 30 minutes before disaster struck, Santa Monica Beach was still bathed in brilliant golden sunshine and peaceful tranquility. A young couple walks along the wooden pier, holding hands and laughing without a single worry in mind. Excited children build elaborate sandcastles near the water's edge, completely unaware that the tide is about to change. Suddenly, the coffee on the table shakes violently, creating small ripple circles on the dark liquid surface today. A medium-intensity 5.5 magnitude earthquake runs through the city's spine, making tourists stop in surprise. Locals just shrug their shoulders and continue working because they are too used to these constant tremors here. But deep beneath the ocean, 50 miles offshore, a true disaster is silently starting to unfold right now. A massive continental shelf section slides down the slope, collapsing into the dark abyss, creating immense water pressure. This landslide triggered a massive displacement of water volume that no warning system detected in time for anyone. Back on the beach, a strange phenomenon appears as seawater recedes far away in a very unusual manner. Sailboats that were anchored are suddenly stranded, lying tilted on the wet sand, covered in green seaweed layers. Thousands of fish are flopping on the exposed sand, creating a chaotic and bizarre scene for everyone watching. Instead of running away in fear, the curious crowd walks out onto the newly exposed seabed land together. A man holds his phone, filming, laughing, and live streaming about the record-breaking low-tide phenomenon never seen before. He has absolutely no idea that he is standing directly in the path of a giant water monster. Flocks of seagulls fly frantically inland, their cries sounding like desperate warnings to the people on the ground. Dogs walking on the beach start barking madly at the horizon and snap their leashes to run away. The sky in the distance begins to turn a murky dark purple, a highly unusual meteorological sign today. The air becomes terrifyingly still, the wind stops blowing, and all sounds seem to be completely swallowed up. A little girl points to the horizon and asks her mother about the growing white wall offshore now. That is not a cloud. It is the foam of millions of tons of water rushing shoreward at jet speed. The tsunami warning speaker system begins to wail intermittent sirens, tearing through the silent atmosphere of the beach. But the crowd's reaction is too slow. They still look at each other blankly, not understanding what is happening. A lifeguard standing on the observation tower screams into a megaphone, his face pale with shock and absolute terror. "Run now, get to shore." His scream is carried by wind, but panic starts to spread through the crowd. People furthest from the water edge begin to realize the horrifying truth as the water wall blocks the sun. The roar of the ocean begins to be heard clearly, sounding like the engines of thousands of airplanes flying. People filming drop their phones. Survival instinct kicks in, making them turn and run for their lives immediately. But the distance from the exposed seabed back to the safe sandy shore now seems far too long. The wave has begun to curl, the white crest crashing down, creating a sound like a massive bomb explosion. A police boat tries to turn around and flee, but is swallowed by the wave in a split second. Onshore, traffic on the highway remains unaware, creating a heartbreaking contrast between life and death right now. The shadow of the wave crashes down on the beach, covering thousands of people screaming in desperate panic. Rainbow-colored umbrellas are swept up into the sky by wind gusts like fragile dry leaves in autumn. A young mother hugs her child tight, closing her eyes waiting for the inevitable impact moment to arrive. The entire city of Santa Monica seems to hold its breath in the final second before being wiped off map. The energy of thousands of atomic bombs is compressed within the wave, ready to be released right now. This is the end of peace and the beginning of a living hell on Earth here in California. And then boom, the wave makes contact with the land. The first impact creates an ear-splitting sound, like metal grinding against bone crushing into the earth. The 100-year-old oak pillars of Santa Monica Pier explode into millions of sharp wooden splinters. The Pacific Wheel is lifted into the air before being thrown violently down onto the foaming water. The bright LED lighting system shorts out, exploding into deadly fireworks beneath the surface of the ocean. The West Coaster roller coaster is twisted like a soft steel wire under the immense water pressure. The historic carousel building has its roof torn off, leaving wooden horses floating aimlessly in the flood. The wall of water does not stop, continuing across the sand with the speed of a train. Black water spills over the breakwater, launching a direct attack on the legendary coastal highway right now. Hundreds of gridlock cars are swept away instantly, like small plastic toys floating in a bathtub. A double-decker bus is flipped sideways, sliding along the road with sparks before sinking underwater. The revolving glass doors of the Georgian Hotel shatter, letting floodwater carry sand and seaweed inside instantly. Guests in the hotel lobby panic and climb the spiral staircase to escape the raging floodwaters. On Ocean Avenue, towering palm trees are uprooted by water, launching forward like deadly wooden spears today. Luxury brand stores have their glass shattered by water pressure, sending merchandise floating out into the street. The 3rd Street Promenade pedestrian zone turns into a raging river with a depth of 3 meters. A delivery truck is swept away by the current, crashing into the facade of a movie theater. Seawater enters the sewer system, creating compressed air pressure that blasts manhole covers up into the air. The Metro Expo Line station is completely flooded, turning the tunnel into a giant, deadly water pipe. A train parked at the station is lifted off the tracks and smashed against the station ceiling. Underground parking garages become mass graves as water fills the enclosed spaces completely to the concrete ceiling. Above ground, survivors climb onto the roofs of shopping malls, looking down at the swirling floodwaters. An East Asian woman holds her dog tight, both shivering from the cold and sheer terror today. The current carries debris from coastal wooden houses, turning them into floating lethal weapons in the water. A nearby gas station explodes due to a short circuit, creating a giant fireball amidst the water. Fire and water fight fiercely, black smoke rising to mix with the gray clouds up above us. Rescue helicopters circle in the sky but cannot land because the wind is too strong right now. A rescue worker hangs on a cable, trying to reach a person clinging to a streetlight. But the light pole suddenly snaps, and both the victim and Hope are swept away by currents. Destruction spreads to inland residential areas where small bungalow houses are flooded up to their roof lines. Family furniture, photo albums, and teddy bears float aimlessly, reminders of the happy lives that are lost. A Caucasian man stands on a roof, waving a red cloth to attract attention from the sky. Water begins to invade the foundations of high-rise apartment buildings, causing dangerous soil erosion underneath them. A 10-story apartment building starts to tilt, the sound of cracking concrete echoing like loud thunder. The building collapses into the water, creating a secondary tsunami that splashes onto the adjacent buildings nearby. Santa Monica Hospital is also surrounded by water. Backup generators flood and stop working immediately right now. Doctors and nurses must use phone flashlights to move patients up to higher floors for safety. Santa Monica Airport turns into a giant lake with small private planes flipped upside down in water. There is no boundary between land and ocean. The city has become part of the Pacific Ocean. Blue sharks begin to swim into the flooded streets, hunting for prey in this new urban environment. A welcome to Santa Monica sign is half buried in mud, tilting precariously in the flowing water. Night falls, the city sinks into total darkness, leaving only the terrifying sound of trickling water flowing. Small spots of fire from burning debris still smolder, illuminating faces that are blank with hopelessness. No one says a word to each other. The horror has stolen the ability to speak from everyone. Humans realize that, before the power of nature, all great structures are merely dust and sand. The tsunami did not just destroy houses, it destroyed the sense of safety for an entire generation. Santa Monica, the jewel of California, is now a desolate and cold, muddy graveyard of ruins. But in that rubble, hands still hold each other. Humanity is the only thing left remaining here. Cold moonlight shines on the black water, ending the longest day in the history of this city. Tomorrow, the sun will rise again, but the old world has been washed away to sea forever. As the water begins to recede slowly, it leaves behind a thick layer of toxic, heavy mud. The citywide transport system is paralyzed completely, turning Los Angeles into a giant parking lot right now. Survivors cough in the air thick with the smell of gasoline and decomposing animals rotting nearby today. Substations explode, causing widespread blackouts, plunging millions of people into total darkness and deep fear tonight. No power, no mobile network. Communication is cut off, causing panic to spread widely among the people. Disoriented crowds begin to stampede over each other at the narrow emergency exits of the tall buildings. Screams for help echo everywhere, but no rescue forces can arrive in time to save them now. An ambulance is stuck in deep mud, its siren lights spinning hopelessly amidst the piles of rubble. At surviving supermarkets, people begin to fight over food and water in a desperate bid for survival. Survival instincts rise strongly, turning friendly neighbors into fierce competitors in the struggle for life right now. The receding water reveals crushed cars piled on top of each other like a chaotic scrapyard. A man tries to start a flooded motorcycle, but the engine only makes a choking coughing sound. Makeshift rafts made from wooden doors and plastic barrels start appearing on the flooded city streets today. Disease outbreak risks rise as clean water sources are contaminated by sewage and toxic chemicals right now. A group of people try to break the glass of a pharmacy to search for bandages and medicine. On the roof, survivors huddle together to keep warm as the night temperature drops significantly down low. Flashlight beams sweep back and forth in the darkness, searching for lost loved ones in boundless despair. The crying of children echoes heartbreakingly, breaking the deadly silence of the ruined city ruins right now. Sewer rats begin to crawl out from flooded holes, taking over the deserted streets devoid of people. A massive fire erupts from the marina area, burning down whatever remains of the boats and yachts. Roads leading into downtown Los Angeles are blocked, turning this place into an isolated land of isolation. Humans realize that money and status mean absolutely nothing before the furious rage of nature right now. The collapse of Santa Monica is a stern warning for the fragility of modern civilization we built. Sporadic rescue efforts are like a drop in the ocean, given the unimaginable scale of destruction here. The lucky survivors sit staring blankly out at the sea, which has taken everything away from them. No more music, no more laughter, only the sound of wind whistling through the shattered window frames. A stray dog wanders looking for its owner, bewildered amidst the cold rubble and muddy debris piles. The long, endless night covers the city, hiding some of the open wounds of the Earth's surface. Survivors begin to pray, hoping that the sunrise tomorrow will bring some form of salvation to them. But they know that life in Santa Monica will never be able to return to how it was. Dawn reveals the full extent of the destruction, a muddy graveyard stretching as far as eyes see. Survivors emerge from the darkness, their faces dirty, but their eyes still holding a glimmer of hope. The coastline has changed forever. The ocean has reclaimed what humans once possessed and called their own. Santa Monica Pier is reduced to a few jagged wooden piles sticking up from the water surface. The San Andreas Fault is still there. The accumulated energy has not yet been fully released today. Nature is not cruel. Nature is simply indifferent to the existence of human beings on this planet. A torn American flag is planted by someone atop the rubble, fluttering defiantly in the morning wind. This is just a simulation, but a reminder that we are always living on borrowed luck here. Prepare for the worst-case scenario, because tomorrow no one knows what will surely come to pass.